I'm doing very well. Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing well. It's been raining every day, but
Is
it
it?
makes
Oh,
beautiful greenery, so I'm good. I
it's
was out
been
there.
so hot here. Oh my God.
Oh, it's hot. It's so humid here too. I was out there
Yeah.
just before weeding, and I got so dirty. Anyway, Erik, hi. How are you doing, my love?
Saying hi, Mama. I'm good. And he says I love you.
I love you too. All right, guys. Before I forget, a lot of people say, "Oh, when are you gonna, interview Lady Di, or when are you gonna talk about this and that?" It's so much information in the archives that preceded when I started making YouTubes out of the sessions. Before it was just audio, and I would just, do transcripts only. So search for any particular topic you want in the archives, any interviews, etc. Okay, so that's some of the really big stuff is actually covered in the beginning, and then we kind of started running out of the big stuff, and well, we still do big stuff too. What can I say? All right, so Erik wants to talk about how can you prevent the ego from interfering. First, let's ask, what is the ego, Erik, from a spirit's perspective? It's obviously a human thing.
Mm-hmm. He says hello to everyone. He's saying hi, everyone who's watching. And he says thank you for coming back. And he says he's doing a voice. He's saying ego, something like that. He's saying I can't do it like him. So he says, no, Mom, it's not just a human thing.
Oh,
it's also something that you can have on the other dimension, which I didn't know about as well.
Yeah.
So so it's saying no, it's everywhere where there is a separation from the one, it's an ego.
Oh, okay. So basically over there, if you want to feel more like an individual, you want that illusion of separation a little bit, you can do that, Erik, in all sorts of degrees, to very separate to, I mean, like if you want to feel lonely, I guess you could totally feel separate from the one if you just wondered what that wanted to remember what that felt like, etc. So you on your side can have an ego of varying degrees, separation of varying degrees, right?
It's like yeah, absolutely. He says but over here people don't really want to feel all those lower vibrational feelings of being lonely and stuff, because the needs are different in this dimension. So it's something that we come here to do. He says that's why we have the wonderful earth, and the duality on this dimension and this planet. So
it's all about ego and separation. That's what drives the duality that is important to the human experience. Is that what you're saying?
No, I don't think so. He's just the ego drives the duality. They feed each other, he says. They feed each other.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
He says duality is because of the ego.
Oh, so duality is created, like, if you betray somebody, you're creating duality with, the need to learn how to forgive. But that's ego doing that. Well, why do we need... Go ahead.
No, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Okay. He was saying that ego is a unique vibration that each mind is tuned to. So you are tuned to the very unique vibration of Elisa in this incarnation. I'm tuned to the vibration of Shruti. He's tuned at the moment to the vibration of Erik, because he chooses to, when he comes through to us with that personality. So it's ego is that very unique vibration and outlook, or a a point of view,
Mm-hmm.
or the way of looking at things. So we choose that. It's our choice, and we choose that unique perspective. We're born with it. We keep changing it, but it's that unique perspective that is the ego. And
Oh,
the experience is related to that ego. The experience that we have in our incarnations is related to that ego.
yeah, that makes
So
sense
yeah,
because
that's
your perspective, what perspective you have at any given moment, is going to shape your life. And it's going to shape how other people react in your life. It's going to shape what choices you make, right?
it's going to shape your reality. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's going to
Oh,
shape your reality and everything that you experience on this plane. So so it's your belief system, he says. It's your emotions. It's what you choose to see in your reality. So
okay.
hello.
I got it.
Hello.
You broke up for a little bit. Can you, but you're back.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
good.
you're back now. So so yeah, so he was saying that um, we are attached to that perspective. Those are our belief system, those are our emotions. Everything that is attached to this personality uh, is the ego.
Is it our
um, is
identity? Is ego the same as our individual identity, or is it something? Does ego shape the identity? What's that relationship about?
he's saying identity is different from ego.
Okay.
Identity, he says, we can have much more control over it consciously. Ego has a lot of it based in the unconscious,
And emotions, probably, huh?
in emotions, in unconscious, a lot of things that we carry from other lives.
Oh,
So so it's much more deeper, the ego. But identity is something that we are aware of very consciously. This is my identity, this is what I identify with.
ah,
And ego is something that comes automatically, that a personality that you're born with. You know how he's saying, you know how children are born and they already have a personality in them. You can
yeah.
say, oh, he's a he's a whiny little guy, or he's a happy little guy, so things like that. So
He probably said,
he's saying, so,
he probably said whiny little shit, not whiny little
yeah,
guy.
something like that.
Uh-oh, uh-oh.
So so yeah, so that's the ego. Ego is something that we bring with us when we are born, and then we keep updating it with our with our belief system, with our experience. We keep updating.
Right. And so you come in with an ego that probably is influenced by other lives, but maybe you also have a spiritual aspects of your spiritual contract that made you shape your ego before coming in. Is that right?
Yes, it has very much to do with the contract. Yes.
Oh, okay, okay. So ego, it seemed like at the very base was all about survival, like cavemen. There was like pretty much only ego, and it's like the urge to survive is what fed the ego. Is that true, or am I just making it up like I do so many things?
No, he's saying you're absolutely right, Mom. He's saying
But then did the ego evolve to become more complicated?
yes, precisely. So he says, like you said before, that it keeps evolving and it keeps updating. Um, a lot of it, I don't know where he's going. A lot of it is based on your need, your desires, and um, choices. Yes, choices um, of the individual, but also of the collective.
How does it have to do with the collective?
Saying because mom, everything is connected.
Oh,
In
that's
the
true.
end, everything is connected. So
So,
that's,
so
yeah.
does the collective have its own ego, or is it that's just for individuals?
It's more individual, but they all work together.
All right,
There
so
isn't like one big collective ego of earth or anything like
okay,
that.
all right, so cave people, they just pretty much had to survive. They had to eat, find water, all that kind of stuff, and so their lives weren't as complicated, I guess. I don't know if this is true, emotionally, and then have so much going on experientially, except for just survival and perpetuation of their species. So is that how it evolved? Our lives got more involved, inner relationships got more involved, emotions got more involved, and so the ego, through from generation over the tens of thousands of years, has evolved to become what it is now.
He is talking about the capacity for experiencing the same emotions that we experience today was always there,
Ah.
even during the cave timings.
Mm-hmm.
The capacity, the brain still had all the capacity. The mind had the capacity to experience everything that we are experiencing now. But the need of that time was different, and the need of today is different.
How?
He's saying uh, because of the living conditions, because of this other development that we have done, the scientific development, and the way we have changed. We become modern.
So how is the ego different now because of how we've developed, and how we've created these big societies and social media and all that stuff? How has that influenced the development of the ego, or the evolution of the ego?
He's talking about we are going back to self now. It was more about um, it was more about survival. It was more about community. It was more about with living with the community, other people. Dependency on each other was more.
Mm.
And now it's more about self. It's more about our own growth. It's more about our own understanding, our own needs. So it's become more about self now, he's saying.
Okay, I guess in a way we don't depend on other individuals as much as we
Other
did. I mean, we
individuals,
depend on a
yeah.
store, so that we can get eggs and milk and stuff. But but uh, the people around us, we don't seem to depend on as much. Like, we don't have Tom go off and hunt for saber-toothed tigers, or they weren't even around when humans were, or whatever to eat. So okay, so is there anything good about the ego? I mean, what are the good aspects of the ego? Of course there are, but
You were on the same page because he was going in the same direction.
oh.
So he was talking about how it was important for survival, and
Yeah.
to survive you need to have that ego.
Now, why is that? What is the connection between ego and survival?
um, Ego is about I am.
Yeah.
Ego is about me. I am surviving. I need to survive. So ego also brings in the vibration of fear.
Oh,
Ego
yeah.
also brings in suffering.
Mm.
So it's your unique perspective, your unique way of looking at things, uh, that also limits you through fear, through self-doubt, through self-confidence, or all these emotions are related to ego. So, uh, you're killing a saber tooth. That is also an ego, but you're killing it because you need to survive.
Right. And you fear starving to death, probably, I guess.
Fear of starving to death, fear of being eaten by the by the saber tooth,
Yeah.
which he said is more likely.
Yeah, really, really. So what would it be like?
so
Oh, go ahead.
so that's what he was saying. Fear is about you and your own survival. It's where you give automatically, it's about your own survival. You put priority on yourself. So ego, it keeps it helps you to have that unique experiences that you're having now in these bodies, um which are valuable, as
Yeah.
he said. So yeah.
Well, if we had no ego, would we not survive? I mean, what would that look like?
He's saying, Mom, that's the best part.
What? What is?
um it's the unique, why, first of all, why do we choose to have egos? Why do we choose to incarnate and have egos and come with this unique perspective? Because um, we have certain things that we want to experience.
Mm-hmm.
uh, um, what else? Yeah, we want to feel some emotions, we want to
Sure.
have some experience, want to have that physical experience.
Yeah. We don't want to just be part of
And
the collective and not have any individual sense of Elisa or Shruti. That would
yeah, yeah,
that would be like losing yourself. Ugh.
losing yourself. But but he's saying that the sufferings that we have, so sufferings that you're having, I'm having, are also attached to the ego.
Mm.
So it's my unique perspective of Shruti that is giving me a suffering, because because maybe I'm judgmental somewhere, maybe I want this and I don't want this. So what if I get what I don't want? It's still
Mm.
suffering.
Yeah.
What if I don't get what I want? It's still suffering. So
Yeah.
this wanting is, I want, is the ego, and the happiness, the emotions, the suffering, everything is attached to this ego.
Mm. And
And
I
imagine
don't
if,
want. I guess I don't want is also attached to suffering too.
yeah. So yeah, when you get something that you don't want in your life,
Yeah.
and it's an annoyance, then
Yeah.
it becomes a suffering. So where is he going with this?
Mm-hmm.
um, so
Slow down, Erik.
let's so let's say, if you can just be a perspective and not be a unique perspective.
Mm.
So let's say you are a perspective, or you have energy that can focus on being Shruti and feel everything that Shruti is feeling, go through all the motions, everything, that unique experience, or choose to focus on Elisa, or choose to focus. So it's just an energy, a pure energy, which does not hold a unique perspective, does not have an ego. And
Mhm.
there might be some things which Shruti cannot experience, or Shruti doesn't have in her life, which Elisa has. There might be something that Elisa can't experience, but Shruti can. So with that limiting perspective, all the limitations go away as well, and you get this freedom of where you can experience everything, and there is no barriers, and you are just one with everything, um, and there is no, you're completely free in the sense there's nothing holding you back, no belief system
Wait,
or no experience.
wait, Eric, are you talking about the state of not having an ego, or are you talking about what it's like over there for you guys, or what?
No, state of not having an
Oh,
ego.
okay. I just want to make sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Mm.
State of not having an ego, because they still, he says that they still hold a perspective, and they still hold uh, separateness, some sort of separateness within them.
Mm.
um, and we can become one while in the body, or we can
Mm.
become one after we go there. It doesn't matter.
Ah, yeah.
We have choice in both the planes, and we can choose to expand that perspective and become one with the infinite while in the body as well.
Mm. That's
So
interesting.
it's the complete freedom you get. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but that doesn't sound like a bad thing. But then, if you don't have suffering, with the, that's related to the contrast, the polarity, then you don't have any teachable moments. I mean, you don't. That doesn't seem like you have anything to learn from. Is that right? Then you can't evolve as a soul as quickly.
Mhm. He says, Mom, you don't always need suffering
Oh,
to evolve,
okay.
because there is lesson in everything. There is lesson even in the happy moments.
Mm, that's true. Or a
Yeah,
lesson in
even
somebody
happy
else's
times.
suffering. You can learn from somebody else's suffering too, I
Mhm.
guess, and
So
happiness.
suffering is no doubt valuable. It is needed when a certain type of when is it needed? When you're unable to evolve without it, maybe
Ah,
in this plane,
mm.
Erik is, then you choose to come down here. And he's saying there is uh, okay, so he's giving that analogy again, which he gives me a lot of times. He explains it this way. Okay, he says, when you're living in the city,
Mm-hmm.
he's explained it before once. I remember, you're in a city and you have this very hectic life, and you're just running around. Maybe you catch a train to work, and then you come back, you hardly get any time with the family, then you sleep, you wake up, you start the same routine, you have like really busy life because you commute and stuff like that. And then there are these small towns, maybe a mountain somewhere in Italy, or a nice hilly place, and people are so relaxed. They do work over there, but they're relaxed about it, about the lifestyle. They go, they work for some time, they come home, they spend some quality time with the family, they sit with a cup of tea outside in the garden, and they relax. And there's
Mm.
the sweetness in that sort of life, there's the slowness. And in the country life, that sort of slowness. So he uses that analogy to explain that this life where he is fast, because the manifestation happens so quickly. You
Oh,
think about it
yeah.
and it manifests.
Mm-hmm.
But over here, there is, in this dimension, there is this sweetness of time. So it takes its sweet time to manifest everything. So
Yeah.
everything is slow here, and that's why there is this sweetness in this dimension. And this dimensions makes everything stand out. The suffering stands out, the
Ah.
happiness stands out, and you have this time to think over it, to analyze it, to process it. Everything that you are experiencing, that slowness, that heaviness, that denseness is useful in that way. So that's why we come here, to experience that suffering. But suffering is not always needed to evolve, as a soul or as energy, he says.
Do you miss it, Eric? Do you miss all that sweetness? Uh-oh.
he he shows me a toilet,
Okay.
I can see a toilet. I think he enjoyed going to the toilet. I don't know.
Oh no, is that what you're saying? You're just trying to embarrass Trudy, right? I know he's probably said, I miss taking a shit. Is that what you said? Huh? Is that
No,
what you said?
he just gave me an image. He
Oh
just
God.
gave me an image,
All
and
right,
I could see a toilet, and
Eric, what,
he says he misses going to the toilet.
all right, Eric, what was your ego like? Tell me about your ego when you were here in a body.
He says it was the best.
What? What do you mean?
He, uh, well, he's praising himself. He says he was the best sort of ego present there. So
Oh,
he
now,
says what was your ego like? He says he had a lot of he says he has a lot of self-doubt
yeah,
when he was here.
yeah.
And he also had a low self-worth in his ego, and but he knew what he wanted to be. He was very clear on what he wanted to be.
What do you
So
mean?
so what his ego wanted to be.
Yeah.
He wanted to be this oh he says he wanted to be like his dad.
Oh, yeah, he did. He really looked up to him a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. So he says,
Motorcycles and everything. Yeah.
yeah, he says he liked that. He wanted to be like his dad,
Yeah.
so he wanted to be seen like his dad.
Very much.
Um,
Very much.
yeah, he
Uh,
looked up to him. That's right. Hmm.
um, okay, now let's talk about how, I mean, we've talked about there's good aspects to the ego. Well, we could say there's bad, but there's no bad. It's just like if it causes you to suffer, that could be valuable, blah, blah, blah. But how can we stop the ego from interfering in our evolution? I mean, sometimes our ego will get us in trouble in relationships, and the relationship becomes toxic, and that causes a lot of suffering. I don't know. I mean, how can we stop ego interference when we're trying to make our way through this life?
He says, "Mom, it's about recognizing that this ego of yours or this perspective of yours is what is limiting you, and when you can look past it, and when you can jump that boundary, then there's this whole meadow to run on, and and then you can be what you want, you can do whatever you want, you can manifest everything you want. So what is it? Recognizing what is in your ego or in your perspective, um, whether be it your belief system, be it your emotions, be it your own identity, which is also a part of the ego, he says. So what is in all these things that is limiting you or causing you to not achieve what you want to achieve for yourself?
Oh.
So that's looking into it.
Can you give a real life example? Like, say this woman, her ego is doing blah, 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 blah to limit her.
Thinking, I think.
Yeah, sorry. I know this is going to take some thought. I give Eric all the hard work.
um, right. So he's talking about, let's say, a business person, a man or a
Okay.
woman, whoever,
Okay.
is is wanting to make X amount of money
Mm.
per year. Um, Pretty simple one, but he has this product to sell. Okay, which is a fantastic product. Many people will need it. He doesn't even know, this guy, the businessman, how this product can be useful. But
Mm.
he has this idea in his head that only this particular market is going to utilize this product and buy this product. So it's because of his belief system, because this product is uniquely for this market, uh, he's going to only market it to that.
Oh. So his ego
Um,
is telling him that he's right about his belief.
he's right about his belief that this
Okay.
is only for this particular these customers, let's say. So if he lets go of that belief and he widens his, oh, let me see what happens here, or let me not hold on to, let me
Mm-hmm.
acknowledge that I don't understand how this thing works.
Mm-hmm.
So and make it available, then he might get a better business and he might earn what he's looking for.
But
And he might
admitting to yourself that you don't know is a real blow to the ego for some people. But uncertainty,
mhm.
it opens up so many opportunities. Uncertainty is super important, but it's something that the ego does not like, because the ego's main purpose is to be right, right?
To be right, it is,
Yeah.
yes.
All right, talk more about that, Eric.
He's saying because ego, it feels safe.
Yeah.
Having an ego, he says, it feels safe. It's I believe in this, I believe in afterlife, or I believe in Christianity, or I believe in that one God, and I believe in Hinduism or Buddhism or whatever. If you look at the religion, he says, then there is love. Love is all.
Mm. Yeah.
There's peace. We are eternal beings. All of these belief systems are also a perspective.
Yeah.
We are attached to these perspectives. So they make us feel safe, they make us feel good, they make us feel good about life, being alive, and they make us feel secure and good and happy. So we hold on to those perspectives. That's what he says.
So, but an ego would interfere with that if that person said Christianity is the only real religion. My belief system
Mm.
is right. I am right.
Mm.
And they are not tolerant of other religions or open to other belief
Yeah.
systems, because they all are very
Yeah.
similar in a way. Is that what you're saying?
So you were talking about uncertainty. So uncertainty is scary, and uncertainty is, it feels like there's no ground under your feet.
Mm.
And this ego, which holds the belief system, which makes you feel certain about some things. Okay, this is what I believe in, that's my belief system, this is what my experience is, this is my reality, this is a part of my reality. It makes you feel secure, it makes you feel safe, it makes you feel good. Although all the good things that you hold in your belief system also are your ego
Yeah.
and a perspective, which can be limiting, which you don't even know is limiting.
Mm. That's true.
So being open is very, very difficult, but is very, very liberating,
Yeah. But
freeing.
I think what helps me is to have the perspective that the ego is just this other little person, kind of usually a brat, whatever, that's attached to us. And it's almost like they're separate from our authentic selves. I mean, our higher selves, I guess, really. And the ego is chattering away. Sometimes he or she says things that make sense. Sometimes they are on the road to self-sabotage, etc. But if you could sort of separate and figure out, okay, this is ego and this is the rest of me that is not ego. Is that something that we can do? Bella, you're barking in your sleep. Okay.
um, he says, "Mom, you're absolutely right," and he's saying he's very proud of you for that explanation. So
I probably learned it from you.
he's actually clapping. He was actually clapping.
Golf clap.
So
Mhm.
he says you're absolutely right in the sense, when we are breathing, who who is breathing and
Oh.
who's observing. Let's say if you're observing yourself, if you pay attention to yourself breathing, then there's this something which is an observer,
Mm-hmm.
and this observer can see that this body is breathing in and breathing out. So the breathing in and breathing out is also happening unconsciously. You're not consciously trying to breathe, you're just letting the rhythm take over and let the body breathe on its own. So you're not the body,
Mm-hmm.
you're not the breathing. And if there's some stuff happening in your life which is making you, let's say, feel sad, then you can also observe that you're feeling sad.
You can detach yourself from it, you mean, and see that this is a
Yeah,
soul that is feeling sad? Okay.
yeah, I am feeling sad, so that I am is the ego,
Ah.
sad is the emotion, everything can be observed.
Mm-hmm. And that must
So
be very
this
therapeutic. But go ahead.
so yeah, he's saying that this observer is actually you, your pure energy, your higher
Oh,
self,
yeah.
he's saying. And you know when you say I am breathing,
Mm-hmm.
then you are being in an ego,
Mm-hmm.
because you're saying I am. But when you just remove that I am and say I'm just breathing, then you're
Yeah, just breathing. Yeah.
being that observer of that breathing. Does it
So
make
the
sense? It
yeah, yeah.
sounds very complicated.
No, so the observer, your real,
I
your
don't know if
pure,
I'm able.
your higher self is observing your ego.
Your higher self.
Sometimes watching it have a
Mm-hmm.
temper tantrum. But to me, also an analogy that I like is, life is like a game of chess. So, you can either be the pawn being moved around by the chess player everywhere, or you can look above and be the chess player that moves the pawn. I mean, the pawns are all the ego, I guess, and but your higher self, you are the chess player.
Yes, that's
I
because
mean,
you hold a
just
higher perspective.
yeah, a higher perspective of observation. So you guys, if you could just sort of disconnect yourself from your ego, then that probably will help keep it from interfering or getting in the way of what you want in life, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes. You hold on to the ego till it's needed, but as you let go of that ego, slowly you become freer and freer, and your life improves. You become a happier person, because you then always you start looking at things with a higher perspective.
So as an observer, your higher self, your authentic self, what do you would call it? How can you use the ego as a positive tool? I mean, how can you move the pawn around in a valuable way?
Mm. um, he's saying if you're holding on, if the observer is holding on to the ego
Mm-hmm.
and playing this life out, then it means that it has a certain desire to fulfill,
Mm.
to experience this life. it knows that it comes with that suffering, but it still wants to play out that part.
Okay.
So as long as you have that desire to play out that part in that contract, you will keep doing it. And um, whenever the suffering becomes too much, it helps to look at it as an observer and then take action.
Yeah. But also as the observer, try to pick out the valuable aspects of the suffering. You know, like with me and the child abuse I went through, as I've said many times before, I am so grateful for that because I learned how to be compassionate, assertive, and some other qualities that I probably would not have gained if I did not go through that. So once I was able to see, okay, this is valuable, this is valuable, this is valuable, I can embrace it, be grateful for it, and then let go of the suffering. So that helps
He
too.
says that's the role of the suffering. If one person is able to see the value in the suffering, learn from it, grow from it, embrace it, and feel grateful for it as you did, then the chapter closes over there.
Yeah, you could let it go. It
And
doesn't have
some people then,
it doesn't have the emotional charge anymore.
exactly, but some people who don't process it, who hold on to it, who hold a grudge over it, who don't process it, and still it keeps eating them up from inside.
So what is the ego doing in that
And
case?
what they do is they manifest the same experience again.
Oh boy.
So
So,
until it's processed, it keeps happening again and again.
well, why? Why do some people choose that?
He says it's the um, the reason for that suffering was to learn from it, and if that uh, goal is not achieved,
Yeah,
then the soul
I see.
keeps
Yeah.
having the same experience again and again.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay, so guys, learn from it so you don't have to keep suffering. Any last things you want to say about ego, Eric? Or if you want to add anything, Shruti?
um
What did I say about suffering? I meant ego. Did I say ego? Anything else you want to say about ego?
Ego, yeah.
Yeah.
He was saying ego is necessary for survival,
Mm-hmm.
but suffering is not.
Okay.
So if it's causing you suffering, if your ego is causing you suffering, then look above it. Look at the higher perspective, and he's saying let that let that shit go. So whatever is causing you pain, let it go.
Good. And as soon as you
Yeah.
see the teachable moments in it, it's easier to do. All right. Well,
Hmm.
I guess that's it. I love you, Eric. I think we've covered so much material in
He's saying love you
42
too,
minutes.
mama.
Love you. And
Hmm.
Shruti, you have a wonderful day. You guys can connect with her at ShrutiCambley.com, and I will put it right here. All right. Love you guys.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank
All
you,
right.
Shruti. Thank you, Eric.
Bye.
Bye-bye.